Takeshi is an ugly loser virgin who works in an office until he gains 1 million riz and bags the cutest girl at work. In a quiet alley one day, a man suggests a woman set up a date with him in secret. The next morning, a woman asks her friend if she caught a morning show about workplace romances, mentioning a similar case involving Tanaka from sales and Yoshioka from HR, who are clearly dating. Another friend laments that working on different floors limits their interactions, pointing out they've even brought back identical souvenirs. Nearby, 28-year-old Takeshi quietly works until Shizuno, age 32, suddenly asks what he thinks about the office romance rumors. He replies he has no opinion. Meanwhile, the gossipers continue, saying the couple has likely been dating for a month. Pretending not to notice, Shizuno quips that the couple should be so bold around Takeshi. Maria, 26, wonders why they even bother coming to work if they just leave to meet up. The gossipers add that getting caught only fuels the couple's excitement. Hearing this, Maria remarks that the two seem to be putting on a show, making Takeshi uneasy. Shizuno eventually returns to her desk, and Mitsuya, also 28, approaches Takeshi with an air of confidence to complain her receipts were rejected again. He explains that it's out of his hands since the assistant director is strict about approving them. Mitsuya angrily accuses the accounting staff of being snobbish, but Takeshi, uninterested in her complaints, returns the receipt to his colleague. As she leaves, she mockingly calls him a paper pusher, hinting at him becoming a company robot, which genuinely bothers him. Even Maria notes that Mitsuya's remark is harsh, especially since they both joined the company at the same time. Shizuno believes Takeshi and the fiery redhead could try to get along better. Later, when Takeshi gets home, Mitsuya shows up to apologize for her comment at work. She admits she was pretending to avoid suspicion. Takeshi, nursing a headache, confesses he feared he'd be fired after the incident, but Mitsuya explains her awkwardness stemmed from their recent status change. They've been dating since the day before. When he asks if this is really happening, Mitsuya confirms it, and despite their public bickering, they've secretly developed feelings. After sharing a beer, he asks if she wants to keep the relationship hidden even from close colleagues. Yu agrees but insists they can't behave normally at work. Worried, Takeshi dreads being treated the way he was earlier. Although the real challenge is that Mitsuya struggles to hide her emotions and sometimes takes extreme steps to keep their relationship under wraps, she firmly lays out a few ground rules. First, they must avoid eye contact in the corridors at all costs. Second, when meeting at night, they should always get off 3 stations earlier, like they did today. Third, on their day off, they must meet at home rather than in public. While Takeshi finds her endearing when she explains these rules, he admits he would love for them to go out sometimes. However, Mitsuya prefers to keep things strictly controlled, especially since Takeshi got flustered when she approached him earlier. Frustrated, Takeshi reflects that he doesn't want to be overly affectionate at work, and he remembers hearing a rumor that secrecy adds excitement to relationships. But for him, this isn't just a game, he simply wants to feel like he's truly dating her. Perhaps it's too much to ask. Mitsuya then suggests they go out while wearing masks, which once again charms Takeshi. She apologizes for setting so many boundaries, explaining that if people at work found out, it could spark rumors and create problems. Since Takeshi doesn't want her to become a target of inappropriate gossip, he agrees that secrecy is best. Mitsuya, for her part, insists that she values their relationship deeply since it began. She genuinely believes it would be awkward for everyone if they discovered the two were dating. Hearing this, Takeshi steps closer and admits that's exactly what has made his heart race lately. Days later, chaos spreads through the company during the busy season. At one point, Mitsuya takes the chance to volunteer when someone needs to deliver papers to accounting, an excuse to see Takeshi. However, her friends stop her, saying she shouldn't go since she's often rude to that department. Instead, they settle it with rock, paper, scissors. As a result, and due to the hectic workload, it's been a week since Mitsuya last saw him. Speaking of which, Takeshi finally wraps up work and soon gets a message from Mitsuya saying she's heading home before their meet-up later. When he finishes, he tries to contact her, but she's asleep and doesn't reply. The next day at work, Shizuno asks if he has all the documents, and Takeshi confirms, thinking about his exhausting workload. After their meeting, it's back to endless numbers on the screen, which is mentally draining. Worse, the receipts don't match, meaning there's no telling when he'll finish. Just then, the elevator opens, and he suddenly finds himself face to face with his beloved, who pretends not to know him. She enters and asks someone to press the button for the first floor, while Takeshi, trying to stay calm, reflects on how he couldn't reach her the night before. She had already fallen asleep, later apologizing for dozing off. Since they had met recently, he wonders if she's always this composed. Meanwhile, Shizuno apologizes to a colleague, mentioning that Mitsuya had helped the assistant director with some paperwork. Mitsuya says it's no problem and asks if everything went smoothly. The colleague confirms that the director appreciated the organization. Shizuno praises Mitsuya, then asks Takeshi if he agrees. Caught off guard, he pauses before saying Mitsuya is the epitome of excellent in their group. Mitsuya, though flattered, pretends he's joking. Noticing her bashfulness, Takeshi jokes that the director should have asked accounting instead. Shizuno agrees, adding that Mitsuya could decline next time since the planning team is overworked. Takeshi then spots Mitsuya's ear turning red, fearing someone might notice their secret. Shizuno suddenly calls their names, but only to suggest they should stop putting themselves down because they get along well. Flustered, Mitsuya mispronounces Takeshi's name, making him even more nervous that their act is obvious. The elevator grows crowded, and Mitsuya, now standing near her boyfriend, quietly comments that Shizuno is onto them. Takeshi whispers back that she's the one acting suspicious. After deciding not to discuss the matter further, they accidentally brush hands and seize the moment to hold them. Later that night, while on the phone celebrating the end of the company's busy season, Mitsuya suggests they call each other by their first names in private. Takeshi resists, saying he's used to calling her Mitsuya, but she insists on Yui, which flusters him, though it's exactly what he hoped for. Heading out for their date, he mentions he left home late, but upon arrival, he's thrilled to see Yui is dressed up. She calls it a special date since they've waited so long, and he awkwardly compliments her while she struggles to accept it. They both act clumsy, trying to seem natural. Curious about the movie, Takeshi asks, and Yui says whatever they agreed on earlier works. Despite their previous talk, she still calls him by his last name, sparking a brief debate about why she can't use his first name. Watching their antics, Takeshi thinks they resemble a high school couple. During the film, he wonders if things will fall apart because they've always used formal names. In 6 years, nothing remarkable has happened, though all he ever wanted was for something meaningful to blossom between him and Yui. Amid these reflections, the film shifts to a frightening scene and Yui grips Takeshi's hand tightly. After leaving the theater, the two discuss dinner plans until a man named Sia appears, enthusiastically greeting Yui, who responds warmly as it's been a long time since they last met. Not wanting to be noticed, Takeshi looks away. Saya suggests grabbing a meal to celebrate their chance encounter, and upon spotting Takeshi, greets him as well. Takeshi recalls that Saya was one of his early trainers at the company and Mitsuya's senior in college, someone she deeply respected. The three head out to eat, where Sia praises Mitsuya for leading the new product competition, sparking jealousy in Takeshi. Saya explains he's in town for business and dropped by the theater out of boredom. Worried Saya might suspect something, Takeshi and Mitsuya lie that they ran into each other by accident. Takeshi briefly wonders if it matters since Sia works at a different branch, but Yu pinches him, making it clear she wants to keep their relationship secret. Later, after Sia leaves, the couple celebrates keeping up the lie. Yu thanks Takeshi, using his first name for the first time, explaining it took her a while to get comfortable. When he teases her for using Suya's first name with ease, she says it's because there were 3 other Suzukis at college. Amused, he invites her to continue their date at his place. The next morning, he calls her by her first name, making her blush. On his way to work, he runs into Maria on the subway, but Yui, noticing her first, cleverly takes the next car. In the following days, the couple keeps pretending to be mere acquaintances while secretly meeting. Morning arrives and Takeshi and Yu once again conceal their relationship from coworkers. On their way to work, they accidentally bump into each other, creating an awkward moment. Unsure whether to acknowledge or ignore each other, they settle for a brief greeting before parting ways. Yu quickly adopts her usual fierce persona, throwing insults at Takeshi, who responds in kind to keep up appearances. After a long workday, they unwind at a bar, where Takeshi notices Yu stifling a yawn. She excitedly shares that her snack product is nearing completion, a major milestone for her, though she secretly struggles to finalize the topping. A colleague suggests consulting Maria from accounting, known for her sharp taste in snacks. Later, as Takeshi helps Shizuno move boxes, Yu arrives. Assuming she's there for him, he feels disappointed when she approaches Maria instead. Maria samples 2 versions of the product, confidently recommending the coconut topping and offering marketing insights. Yui, impressed by Maria's expertise, takes notes, surprised that an accountant has such a keen sense for food. Yu praises Maria and notes her popularity among snack reviewers online, flustering Maria. Embarrassed, Maria asks her to keep it a secret, admitting that her cheerful, snack-loving online persona contrasts with her professional work image. She doesn't want colleagues to treat her differently. Amused by Maria's unexpected shyness, Yu reassures her, promising to stay quiet. Maria, surprised by Yu's kindness, had always seen her as intimidating due to her sharp tongue, especially toward Takeshi. She starts to wonder if Yu is only harsh with him. Maria then justifies Yu's rudeness, citing Takeshi's difficult personality, recalling how he once scolded her and Shizuno over minor formatting errors despite Shizuno being his superior. Yu agrees but secretly smiles, fondly remembering his nitpicky ways in private. As Maria lists more of Takeshi's annoying habits, Yu sees them as endearing quirks, though Maria remains oblivious, thinking Yu simply dislikes him. Relieved her secret is safe, Yu suddenly worries that everyone finds Takeshi annoying. Just as guilt creeps in, Maria starts praising him, pointing out his helpful nature. In a small voice, Yu admits she knows, recalling the moment Takeshi helped her pick up fallen papers, an act that first stirred her feelings for him. As Maria snacks, she reflects on how much she and Shizuno depend on Takeshi, noting that his helpful nature makes him easy to take advantage of. Yu, gripping her pencil, grows frustrated, ranting about Tadishi's kindness and admirable traits until Maria silences her with a hand gesture. Maria clarifies she has no romantic interest in him but senses Yu is trying to persuade her otherwise. Yu freezes, fearing Maria has caught on to her feelings, but Maria assumes they just have a complicated rivalry since they joined the office together. That evening, while cleaning up after dinner at Taishi's place, Yu notices his sore shoulders and offers a massage, leading him to his room to relieve the tension. Enjoying it, Taishi asks about her earlier conversation with Maria. Yu vaguely mentions discussing a new product but omits Maria's secret snack reviews and avoids sharing Maria's thoughts about him. Suspicious, Taishi questions her sudden kindness, and Yu explains she saw him moving office equipment and wanted to reward his effort. Blushing, she shyly admits it's hard to resist touching him at work, making Taishi's face turn red. Yu quickly realizes the meaning behind her words and flushes with embarrassment. Trying to recover, she jokingly suggests he give her a massage next. A few days later, Yu enters the planning department in high spirits, carrying a bag of upgraded snack samples inspired by Maria's advice. She shares them with her team for feedback. When she notices Kazuki struggling with his computer, she silently gestures to help, smiling as he thanks her before returning to work. Meanwhile, Taishi is frustrated in accounting after the deputy director rejects his report. Feeling discouraged, he slumps into his chair as Shizuno and Maria reassure him not to take it personally. Still irritated, he steps out for a coffee, convinced the deputy is unfairly targeting him over just 2 extra lines in the report. 2 friends find him looking upset, though he tries to hide it, unsuccessfully. Yu notices too. His friends tease that she's about to scold him, but instead, she surprises him with a cheerful smile, offering snack samples for feedback. As the group admires the rich chocolate and layered flavors, Taishi is caught off guard when Yu personally hands him one. Reluctantly, he takes it from her hand, eats it, and remarks that it's fine. His lukewarm response annoys Yu, who insists on a detailed critique, even if it's negative, to help her improve. Taishi admires her openness as he struggles with criticism himself. Following her request, he notes that the chocolate topping is excessive, making the snack messy, showing a stain on his thumb. While his friends dismiss it as minor, Yu acknowledges the issue, realizing most people prefer convenience. Thanking them, she returns to her apartment to adjust the recipe. Inspired by her determination, Taishi decides to redo his report, wanting to match her resilience. After work, Shizuno invites him and Maria for drinks. Curious, he considers joining, knowing Yu often goes out with her team. Unexpectedly, they run into Yu's department at the same restaurant. Though seated separately, Shizuno nudges Taishi to interact with Yu, hoping the drinks might ease the tension. However, they remain with their groups. Taishi gets absorbed in conversation with Kazuki, who, unlike the others, is only drinking juice. When Kazuki steps away, Taishi finds himself momentarily alone. The girls excuse Kazuki's reserved nature, explaining he's new to their team. They reveal that Yu persuaded him to join their outings and praise her warm, caring nature. Hearing their admiration, Taishi swells with pride, knowing she's his girlfriend. When he glances at her table, he's shocked by the empty beer glasses. Yu suddenly gets up and stumbles to the washroom, crouching by the sink. Worried, Taishi rushes to her side, offering to help, but she stubbornly refuses. Amused, he teases her while rubbing her back. Yu frets about being seen, but he reassures her it's normal to help colleagues. Realizing she drank too much because of him, he apologizes, but Yu, tipsy, snaps at him before melting into his touch. She then announces she'll stay at his place and falls asleep, completely unaware they're in public. Just then, Kazuki exits the men's room, catching them. He awkwardly explains he was waiting for a chance to leave but didn't want to interrupt. Then he hesitantly asks if they're dating. Seeing no reason to deny it, Taishi confirms their relationship. The next day, Taishi tells Yu that Kazuki knows their secret, making her anxious. She ominously suggests locking Kazuki in the storage room to keep him quiet, but Taishi reassures her she's overreacting. He insists Kazuki isn't the type to spread gossip. Though Yu hesitantly agrees, she still fears the small chance of exposure, which could harm their careers, especially Taishi's, given his dedication to the company. Touched by her concern, Taishi ruffles her hair and assures her that acting normal at work will keep them safe. Later, in the accounting department, he notices everything is business as usual, bringing him relief. Seeing Kazuki by the vending machines, he casually reminds him to stay quiet. Kazuki questions why they're hiding their relationship since office romances aren't forbidden. Taishi explains they want to maintain a professional image, especially since so many rely on Yu. Hearing his sincerity, Kazuki agrees to keep quiet, saying he wants to protect Yu too. He notes that seeing a different side of her was unexpected, and Taishi responds that he finds her most charming that way. As Taishi walks away, he thinks about the future. Marrying Yu crosses his mind, and he smiles, hoping to stay by her side forever. The planning department is swamped, and while Yu's team has created a promising snack to sell, they still need to design the packaging. Yu pushes for a bold, stylish look to attract customers, but Kazuki and some higher-ups favor a more classic approach. Just as she prepares to argue, she remembers Kazuki knows about her secret relationship with Taishi. Wanting to stay on his good side, she holds back and agrees to consider the simpler design. After work, Yu makes dinner for Tahishi and is thrilled when he arrives with donuts from a shop she's been eager to try. She seats him in her cozy living room and heads to the kitchen, happily humming as she plates the treats and brews coffee. From his spot, Tahishi notices her collection of Mr. Rabbit toys have grown, making her space feel warm and lively, so different from his own minimalist home. When Yu returns, her mood turns serious as she carefully debates which donut to eat first. Watching her intense focus, Tahishi is reminded of her sharp decision-making at work. The moment she picks a maple-flavored one, she instantly brightens, transforming back into the cheerful, affectionate Yu he loves. Yu sits beside Tahishi, taking a bite of her donut. Her eyes brighten as the maple sweetness fills her senses, and she sighs in delight. Tahishi watches, fascinated by how expressive she is over something so simple. Curious, he asks if she's always loved snacks. She pauses, then admits she's always enjoyed them but became more passionate after joining the company, surrounded by food and snack-loving coworkers. Turning the question on him, she gestures to the untouched donuts. He realizes he doesn't actually crave sweets. He bought them because he knows Yu loves them. Over time, he's learned her tastes and enjoys making her happy. Taking a bite of a chocolate donut, he's surprised by how good it is, his face lighting up. Amused, Yu leans in and kisses him, calling him adorable. Embarrassed by her boldness, she quickly stands and offers to make more coffee. Tahishi, still stunned, feels his face heat up but smiles, realizing each new side of Yu makes him love her more. As they finish their donuts, Yu sighs, confessing she feels anxious around Kizuki in meetings. Tahishi listens patiently, offering a reassuring smile. He reassures her to stay calm and not dwell on it too much, reminding her that Kizuki had already promised to keep their secret. To ease her worries, he gently pats her head and fondly remembers how Kizuki once hinted at marriage, which made him blush. The next day, Yu remains tense during a team meeting. Sitting across from Kizuki, her nerves spike as she recalls Tahishi holding something back during their conversation. Instead of concentrating, she keeps sneaking wary glances at Kizuki, wondering what he might know. Her thoughts are interrupted when a teammate excitedly brings up her newfound love for Angel Donuts, complimenting the adorable packaging. Yu stiffens, realizing she's been caught off guard. Scrambling to recover, she agrees and says a friend gave them to her. As soon as she speaks, panic sets in. Kizuki might figure out that the friend is Tahishi. In a flustered attempt to backtrack, she awkwardly insists it was just an acquaintance, specifically a woman, though her anxious glances betray her. At first, Kizuki dismisses her odd reaction, unsure who she means. But when the team suggests asking accounting for funds to buy donuts themselves, Yu's panic intensifies. Watching her frazzled response, Kizuki suddenly puts the pieces together. Her clumsy cover-up only makes it more obvious. Kizuki stifles a sigh, realizing that keeping your relationship with Tahishi under wraps is harder than expected. To make things worse, Yu seems to doubt his ability to keep the secret. As they both get lost in thought, two teammates are suddenly called to a meeting with the section chief, leaving behind towering stacks of paperwork for Yu and Kizuki to handle. An awkward silence settles in as they work side by side. Wanting to ease the tension, Yu attempts small talk, but Kizuki's brief reply makes her trail off. Feeling drained, he quietly asks if she finds him unreliable, his voice uncertain. Yu realizes her behavior might have given him the wrong impression. Determined to fix it, she sets down her papers and lightly slaps her cheeks, a habit to boost her confidence. The motion catches Kizuki's eye, and she takes the chance to explain that her nerves stem from the unfamiliarity of a secret relationship, not distrust. Her face flushes with embarrassment, betraying her emotions. Kizuki smirks, teasing that she doesn't look very apologetic. The mood lightens and Yu sheepishly admits she was being too obvious. Amused but composed, Kizuki warns that if she doesn't learn to hide her feelings, others will figure out the secret without his help. Yu acknowledges the man, nodding as she admits her mistake and apologizes again before they both return to organizing paperwork. Meanwhile, in accounting, Tahishi is sent to retrieve a file from the warehouse archives. Thanks to a recent cleanup, he quickly locates it, but just as he prepares to leave, a loud crash from a nearby room catches his attention. Concerned, he rushes over and finds Yu on the floor, rubbing her lower back. Their eyes meet, and they instinctively call out to each other before quickly reverting to formalities. Yu explains that falling items startled her, causing her to lose balance. Tahishi scans the chaotic planning department, a stark contrast to accounting's order, and wonders how they function in the mess. Yu admits management has already ordered a cleanup and starts gathering scattered items, muttering about temporary storage. Seeing her struggle, Tahishi helps despite her protests, joking that her department clearly needs the assistance. Though wary of being seen together, he enjoys these fleeting moments with her. While sorting through the clutter, he picks up a flag and asks Yu where it belongs. She suddenly lights up, recognizing it as the one she used in her first sales event after joining the company. Yu briefly lowers her guard, revealing the side of herself Tahishi knows outside of work. But just as quickly, she restores her cool, professional front and instructs him to set the flag in the corner before resuming her organizing. She reminds herself to stay focused and keep her distance. Tahishi obeys, but wonders if their work rule still applies when they're alone. As they clean in silence, Yu reaches for a high shelf. Takeshi offers to assist, but she refuses, only asking him to steady the ladder. He grips it firmly, glad to be helping. When he warns her about her skirt, she freezes, making the ladder shake. She slips, but Takeshi catches her just in time. They end up close, nearly kissing, until coworkers suddenly enter. They quickly squeeze into a hiding spot to avoid detection. Takeshi struggles to stay balanced without knocking over a sign. Sensing his discomfort, Yu quietly tells him to relax and lean on her if necessary. He complies, knowing getting caught isn't an option. Once the coast is clear, they exhale in relief and agree to keep things professional. Days later, their colleague Shizuno excitedly offers 7 baseball tickets, thrilling Takeshi, a devoted fan. On game day, Yu ends up in his group. Though surrounded by coworkers, he secretly enjoys sharing the moment with her. He eagerly explains the game, helping a confused Yu follow along. When their team scores, he instinctively grabs her hand but quickly checks their colleagues, relieved they're focused on the game. Later, as they push through the crowded concession area, Takeshi suggests holding hands to stay together without raising suspicion. Yu hesitantly agrees but enjoys the closeness. On their way back, a home run sends Takeshi into excitement, making him hug Yu without thinking. To their surprise, Shizuma joins in, too caught up in the moment to notice. Back at their seats, Yu leans in and whispers that next time, they should go alone to enjoy the game without worry. Yu and her friends visit a convenience store for lunch, each selecting their meals. However, Yu's attention isn't solely on food. She discreetly scans the shelves for her newly launched snack. Her heart sinks upon seeing it untouched, the lack of interest weighing on her. The next morning, Shizuno starts her date early as always. While walking from the train, she bumps into a male colleague who praises her punctuality. She laughs, returning the compliment, but he admits he's only there to finish leftover work. After some brief chatter, Shizuno heads to a nearby cafe for a quiet moment. As she settles in with a menu, her peace is disrupted when Kizuki arrives and the waitress assumes they're together, seating him at her booth. Disappointed, she sighs inwardly but offers a polite smile. When they try to order at the same time, their exaggerated politeness turns into an awkward standoff. Meanwhile, Yu rides the train to work, anxiously refreshing her phone for any online buzz about her snack, only to find silence. Yu unexpectedly encounters Takeshi, and after a brief exchange of pleasantries, they settle into their usual work dynamic. As they walk, Takeshi picks up on her subdued mood and, recalling her low spirits during their call the night before, asks if something is wrong. Yu brushes it off, blaming fatigue from long hours. Sensing there's more to it, Takeshi shifts the conversation to her new project. Yu agrees it's exciting, but her unenthusiastic tone says otherwise. Meanwhile, at the cafe, Shizuno and Kizuki receive their meals only to realize they ordered the same dish. Already feeling awkward, Shizuno watches Kizuki begin eating and follows his lead. To ease the tension, she makes small talk, saying he doesn't mean to wait for her. Kizuki gently reminds her that her food is getting cold and reassures her she doesn't need to force conversation. He enjoys quiet mornings. Relieved by their mutual appreciation for silence, Shizuno focuses on work while Kizuki reads. As she eats and types, she occasionally glances at him, unexpectedly comforted by his presence. After a while, Kizuki closes his book and announces he's heading to the office first. Before leaving, he remarks that he enjoyed breakfast and that his perception of her as a heavy drinker has changed. Stunned, Shizuno realizes he's referencing her embarrassing moment at the baseball game. Anxiety creeps in, but before she can respond, he's already gone. She sighs, shakes off the comment, and refocuses on work with a faint smile. At the office, Yu anxiously refreshes a webpage tracking her product's performance. Despite using Maria's online influence, there's still no traction. Her frustration grows when she overhears another department celebrating a successful launch. Feeling discouraged, she starts drafting an email to explain that her product needs time since it's brand new, not just a rebrand. Lost in thought, she jumps when Kizuki suddenly appears, dropping a stack of documents from the section sheet for data entry. Without another word, he leaves, leaving Yu stewing in frustration. As she works, her irritation builds. No one, not even her own team, seems excited about her project. When Chiharu offers her chocolates, Yu snaps, rejecting them harshly. The office falls silent and regret washes over her immediately. That evening, Yu shows up at Takeishi's place on a whim, seeking comfort. He is visibly startled to see her, especially since she looks completely drained. Without hesitation, he welcomes her in and starts preparing food and drinks, though his concern is evident. As he hands her a beer, Yue immediately launches into a rant, venting about how the section chief dumped extra work on her despite her already packed schedule. Her frustration deepens as she complains that no one in the office acknowledged her snacks launch. Everyone was too focused on another, less innovative product. Her voice rises as she laments how her creation sits untouched on store shelves, collecting dust, making her feel like all her effort was wasted. Eventually, her words falter and tears well up in her eyes. Taken aback by her emotions, Takeshi gently reassures her that it's natural to feel this way after putting in so much effort. He reminds her that the entire department and company care about every product's success, even if it's not always obvious. He also points out the struggles they faced securing a budget for her snack, proving her team had supported her from the beginning and encouraging her to be more open about her feelings. Yu confides in Tateshi about feeling overwhelmed and undervalued, and he encourages her to speak openly with her section chief. The next day, she stops by a convenience store to buy snacks as a peace offering for her colleagues. While browsing, she overhears two students debating whether to purchase her snack. Her heart races as she watches them consider, and to her delight, they decide to add it to their cart. Filled with joy, Yu smiles to herself, finally feeling appreciated. At work, she arrives with renewed energy, but feels drained by lunchtime after a series of morning meetings. As she eats with her friends, they chat about their department's heavy workload, but agree that a good meal makes it more bearable. Yu's ears perk up when she hears Takeshi's name mentioned at the next table. Pretending not to listen, she leans in as the girls praise his dependability, height, and charm. However, their admiration soon feels more like infatuation, making Yu uneasy. Her friends, who had also caught on, nod in agreement that Tateshi is undeniably appealing. Their words stir Yu's insecurities, and as she glances at the well-dressed girls, she becomes painfully aware of her own simple appearance and the lack of effort she puts into looking nice, even when she's with Tateshi. Yu begins to doubt whether she's doing enough to hold Tateshi's attention. The following evening, he immediately notices a change. She's dressed more elegantly than usual, her poised demeanor unsettling him. Before he can ask, Yu comments on the room's warmth in a suggestive tone, trying to set a romantic mood. Misinterpreting, Tateshi simply lowers the air conditioner's temperature. Undeterred, Yu hints again at her desire for intimacy, but instead of responding as she hoped, he reassures her she can always be honest with him. She finally confesses she felt insecure after overhearing the cafeteria girls admiring him and wanted to appear more attractive. Smiling, he assures her she's the only one he loves, though he secretly worries about her own popularity. Encouraged, Yu boldly removes her top and kisses him, catching him off guard. Though surprised, he gently asks if they can slow down since he hasn't showered, but she insists on taking care of him. Moments later, she grows flustered, realizing she may have acted too hastily. Moved by his feelings, Tateshi lifts her onto the bed, savoring their connection. The next morning, Yu reflects on the night before. In the elevator, Chiharu notices her distracted look and asks if she's okay, but Yu brushes it off. When the cafeteria girls gush over Takeshi again, she no longer feels jealous, just proud that he's hers. As the elevator doors open, Takeshi steps in, pausing briefly before standing next to the girls. One eagerly asks about his weekends, fishing for details. Catching Yu's glance, Takeshi casually mentions he usually spends them with his girlfriend. As the group exits, Chiharu turns to Yu, surprised. Playing it cool, Yu simply notes that it's no surprise, given his kind nature. Takeshi enjoys a rare calm day at work as the entire office adopts a holiday mood with lively chats about summer plans filling the air. Maria excitedly shares her upcoming trip to Nagoya, while Shizuno says she'll skip the break, avoiding the crowds she dislikes. Their curiosity then shifts to Takeshi's plans, prompting him to recall a heated argument with Yui a month earlier over choosing a vacation spot. Without a travel agency's help, they gather at Yui's apartment and brochures spread across the table. Takeshi immediately rejected her first choice, Okinawa, fearing typhoons might ruin it. Yu argued there was still plenty to enjoy, but Tateshi found her packed itinerary overwhelming for their short break. He preferred a slower-paced trip to Hokkaido, with hot springs, scenic drives, and cozy grills, but Yui thought it sounded dull, craving something more exciting. Frustrated, Tateshi offhandedly said they could go wherever she wanted, unintentionally sounding indifferent. This upset Yui, who abruptly suggested canceling the trip if they couldn't agree on something enjoyable for both. Realizing his error, Takeshi quickly grabbed her hands, assuring her that the destination didn't matter as long as they were together. He then hesitantly confessed that what he really wanted was to enjoy a private bath with her, since it was their first trip as a couple. His honesty caught Yu off guard, and her irritation faded into embarrassment. To lighten the mood, she playfully invited him to bathe with her right then, knowing it was what he secretly desired. Though Yu enjoyed the closeness in her cramped bathtub, Tateshi couldn't help but think a spacious hotel bath would be far better. Yu then suggested trying a hotel in Yamanashi, hinting it might be the perfect compromise. Back in the present, Tateshi tells his colleagues he plans to visit Yamanashi, his hometown. As the workday ends, Yu eagerly wraps up her tasks, excited to head home and pack for their long-awaited trip. Just as she's about to leave, Takeshi texts her to check in. She smiles, ready to reply, but before she can, chaos erupts in the office. A crisis in the planning department throws everything into disarray. Isuru informs Yu and Yukiko that they'll need to work overtime to fix the issue. Yu's hopes of leaving early vanish instantly. Meanwhile, Tateshi grows worried as hours pass without a word from her. Yu had left her phone in her bag to focus fully on getting the products ready for delivery. Itsuru feels the pressure of the approaching deadline, and his frustration makes it clear to Yu and Yuko that an all-nighter is inevitable. Yu's heart sinks as she realizes her vacation might be canceled. Though she knows Takeshi would understand, disappointment creeps in. Still, she pushes through, determined to finish quickly. Unexpectedly, the on-site team arrives to help, speeding up progress, and to everyone's relief, they wrap up on time. Yu even catches the last train home, exhausted but triumphant. Her summer plans are safe. As she walks home, Tadaishi suddenly grabs her arm, worry etched on his face after she hadn't answered his messages. Seeing her worn out, his concern softens into relief as he gently cups her cheek, silently reassuring her that their trip is still on. Yu smiles, leaning into his touch, her stress fading. The next morning, Shizuno enjoys a calm moment at her favorite cafe. Kizuki joins her, and when he mentions skipping the summer rush for an autumn break, she feels a quiet connection. Without many words, they savor breakfast together, sharing a peaceful understanding. Tadaishi and Yu finally set off on their long-anticipated trip, with their first stop at a traditional dessert shop offering a weekend-only raindrop cake. Yu eagerly scoots a bite, her eyes lighting up at its jiggly texture, and a delighted smile spreads across her face as she savors its refreshing taste. Tadaishi watches her warmly, filled with happiness just being there with her. Though it's his hometown, everything feels new and exciting because he's sharing it with Yu. Spotting a smudge on his cheek, Yu gently wipes it with a handkerchief, but before she pulls away, a nearby child notices. Without missing a beat, Yu links arms with Tadaishi, playfully insisting it's normal for couples. However, their sweet moment takes an unexpected twist when a local TV reporter approaches, asking if they'd like to be interviewed. Yu, bold just moments before, suddenly panics at the thought of publicly declaring their relationship and bolts. Later, as they head to their next stop, Tadaishi teases her for overreacting, explaining it was only a small local station. No one from work would have seen it. Yu huffs in embarrassment, but her frustration quickly fades as they arrive at a vast sunflower field. Overjoyed, she runs ahead, snapping countless photos, while Tadaishi lags behind, content to admire the view of her. Tadaishi is completely enchanted by her, feeling nothing could top this moment. Overcome with emotion, he impulsively rushes over and steals a quick kiss, catching her off guard. As the day ends, they check into a cozy hotel with a private bath. Yu instantly feels the splurge was worth it, savoring the rare luxury and eagerly anticipating tomorrow's adventures. Later, as they relax together, Tadaishi grows unusually shy, hands her a beer, and recalls a company training camp years ago. He reminds her of the night they stayed behind to clean after their drunk co-workers and confesses that's when he fell for her. Stunned by his honesty and adoring gaze, Yu's heart races. Feeling bold, she leans in and kisses him deeply. The next morning, Yu clings to Tadaishi, reluctant to leave bed, craving more of his attention. He happily obliges until room service arrives with breakfast, finally prompting them to start their day. Tadaishi takes Yu around the countryside, showing her popular spots and local eats. She excitedly buys more snacks than she should, torn between what to bring home and what to keep for herself. While wandering around, Yu spots a grape stand and Tadaishi tenses up, wondering if it belongs to his family who grow and sell grapes. Yu buys some anyway, eager to try them. They find a place to sit, and when she tastes one, her eyes widen in delight. The sweetness surpasses her expectations. Sampling grapes from the top of the bunch, she notices each has a unique flavor. Tadaishi boasts that his family's grapes are even better. Yu hums thoughtfully, taking in the serene view, suddenly feeling the urge to visit again, not just for the scenery and food, but to meet Tadaishi's family and try their grapes. The next morning, they wake up refreshed, still tangled beneath the sheets. With time before breakfast, they consider another intimate moment, but Yu opts for a final soak in a private hot spring before heading home. Relaxing in the warm water, she wishes the trip could last longer but feels recharged and ready to tackle work. Tadaishi smiles at her words, admiring her dedication as she looks at him, waiting for his thoughts. He pauses briefly before revealing he's considering a higher certification exam, hoping it might speed up his career advancement. Yu's eyes brighten at his ambition, and an idea strikes her. She proposes they set goals for the next year, with the loser of their bet covering the cost of their next Yamanashi trip. Tadaishi starts to argue, pointing out how tough the exam is, but Yu's enthusiasm sways him, and he agrees, choosing to savor the moment and look forward to next year. Back at the office, his slight tan catches his coworkers' attention, though they don't ask much. Maria, returning from Nagoya, shares snacks with him and to his surprise also offers some to Yu, hinting at an unexpected connection. Tadaishi panics, realizing Yu will surely give Maria Yamanashi souvenirs in return. His fears confirmed when Maria hands out Yamanashi treats, saying Yu had excitedly talked about the trip and even suggested places to visit. As Tadaishi listens, his cheeks flush with a shy smile, feeling proud of how much Yu enjoyed their time together. He silently promises to keep doing his best at work so they can share more adventures. One evening, Yu and Tadaishi sit together at the table, deeply engrossed in their tasks. Both have set ambitious goals for the year and are committed to achieving them. Tadaishi studies for his certification exam, flipping through notes and highlighting key points, while Yu carefully refines her product proposal for an upcoming presentation. The quiet apartment is filled with the soft sounds of pages turning and keyboard clicks. The next morning, Yu presents her ideas to the section chief, nervous but hopeful. To her relief, she receives positive feedback. There are revisions to be made, but she takes pride in her progress. Encouraged, she remains determined to improve. As she heads to a meeting, she overhears colleagues praising a new staff member's successful product. A flicker of doubt surfaces, but she reminds herself that even small progress is meaningful. Yui and Itsuro enter a meeting with the business development department. While Yui is eager to push her project forward, Itsuro groans, dreading the discussion. He doesn't get along with Hiromi, the department's representative, a former sales star known for his sharp instincts and direct approach. When the meeting starts, Hiromi immediately gets to the point. He quickly reviews the planning department's data and bluntly calls it too complex. In a firm tone, he outlines necessary improvements, insisting they streamline their process. Yu watches in awe. This is her first time working with Hiromi, and his decisiveness impresses her. However, Itsuro pushes back, defending the system as precise and efficient. Hiromi remains firm, pointing out inefficiencies and dismissing certain steps as unnecessary. The debate escalates until Itsuro suddenly steps away for a call, leaving Yu alone with Hiromi. What happens next stuns her. Hiromi offers her a position in the new business development department. He explains that his team urgently needs fresh talent and that her recent proposal caught his attention. In the planning department, competition is fierce, and her efforts may go unnoticed for years. But in his department, she could make an immediate impact and gain the recognition she deserves. Yu listens in shocked silence, realizing this isn't just an offer. It's a chance to redefine her career. Feeling overwhelmed by the idea of switching departments, Yu struggles to decide. After work, she visits a department store with Takeshi, where products from the new business development team are on display. Takeshi is surprised by the crowd and impressed after sampling one of their items. Yu recognizes that attracting this department's attention is a big accomplishment, but feels conflicted. The product is exceptional, far beyond what she's used to. Holding a box of the chocolates, doubts creep in. A transfer promises new challenges and recognition, yet leaving her current role feels like abandoning her goals and colleagues. She also realizes that moving departments would invalidate her bet with Takeshi. Just as she starts to spiral, Takeshi playfully pinches her cheeks, snapping her back to the moment. He reminds her to focus on what she truly wants, rather than worrying about others' opinions. A comforting pat on the head follows before he signals to move on. Any further talk will have to wait, as missing their train home isn't an option. The silent walk to the station does little to settle her uneasy thoughts. The next morning, she puts on her usual energetic front during her presentation, staying focused despite her mind drifting to the uncertainty of her future. Her subtle change in demeanor is noticed, but she dismisses any concern, unwilling to share her inner turmoil. As the day unfolds, the weight of her planning department duties becomes clearer. The workload is heavy, and though she wants to push forward with her proposal, more urgent tasks demand attention. It dawns on her that switching departments might give her the freedom to pursue projects she truly cares about. The following morning, an unexpected email from Hiromi arrives. An extensive set of materials packed with analysis and valuable insights for her project. Before she can fully process it, a phone call jolts her back to reality. She forgot a task from the previous day, causing a delay in an ongoing project. Summoned to the section chief's office, she feels humiliated, 6 years in the company, that she made such a simple mistake. Leaving the office, she is met with reassuring smiles from her colleagues, their support lifting her spirits. Still, a lingering doubt nags at her. Her indecisiveness may be leading to unnecessary errors, impacting not just her own progress, but her team's efficiency as well. Burdened by thoughts, Yu struggles to concentrate that evening. Seeking comfort, she makes an impromptu visit to Takeshi, frustrated by her mistakes at work. She begs him to help her forget the terrible day, but even in his embrace, her worries linger. No matter where she goes, she fears carrying the same doubts and struggles. Sensing her distress, Takeshi playfully ruffles her hair, assuring her that reflecting on her actions means she's already improving. After calming down, he walks her to the station, though he offers for her to stay. She declines, knowing she has responsibilities the next day. Apologizing for the late visit, she's met with his warm smile, reminding her she's always welcome. The next morning, Yu unexpectedly encounters Hiromi. Without hesitation, he asks if she has considered transferring to business development and invites her to a seminar that might help her decide. Before she can answer, he notices the proposal in her hands and inquires about it. Yu admits she missed the deadline and plans to drop it, but Hiromi insists that good ideas hold value regardless of timing. When she hesitates, he takes a blunt approach, calling her a coward. The comment stings, but it sparks something in her. Resolved to prove him wrong, Yu gathers her courage and heads straight to her section chief's office. As expected, he is doubtful. She hasn't completed the revisions he requested, and with her workload, taking on a new project seems unrealistic. But for the first time, Yu stands firm. She insists she can refine the proposal as she goes and is fully prepared to lead the project. Taking a deep breath, she finally confesses. She would rather focus on this proposal than continue her current tasks. The section chief studies her before acknowledging her reliability, explaining that he assumed she was content with her workload. Seeing her ambition, he agrees to consider the proposal and even offers to adjust her responsibilities. Eyes shining with relief and excitement, Yu returns to her desk where Chiharu, having witnessed everything, congratulates her. As she sits down, she takes a steadying breath. She has finally stood up for herself. It dawns on her that Hiromi likely orchestrated this moment to push her forward. His challenge forced her to confront her doubts and make a choice. That evening, she treats herself to a slice of cake from the business development department's new line. As the rich flavors melt in her mouth, a fresh sense of determination takes hold. The following day, they visit Hiromi to apologize for her past behavior, admitting she had been dismissive when he was only trying to assist. She formally refuses his transfer offer, choosing instead to focus on launching a new product within the planning department. However, she surprises him by asking to join the seminar, eager to learn from his team's expertise. Yu openly credits Hiromi's insights for helping her realize flaws in her approach, admiring his structured methods. Amused but firm, Hiromi insists that if she benefits from his department's knowledge, he will also take advantage of what hers has to offer. After a tiring week, Yu and Tadhishi unwind at a stone spa, the warmth soothing their exhaustion. Watching her relaxed, Tadhishi feels content as Yu shifts from her usual work-driven self to a more affectionate and playful mood, teasing that he is her true source of healing. One evening after work, Yu and Tadhishi plan a date, but Yu gets caught up in a last-minute project. With time to spare, Tadhishi decides not to wait and heads to a small chicken skewer place for a drink and some food. Enjoying the solitude, he takes his time eating. A hiking ad on the restaurant's TV grabs his attention, and he imagines Yu in hiking gear, making him smile. He quickly shakes off the thought, scolding himself for thinking about his girlfriend during his alone time. His focus shifts when he overhears a group of men complaining about their wives. Takeshi wonders if he'll feel the same way about his future spouse, but he imagines a warm life with Yu, full of simple joys like coming home to her smile. Suddenly, one man gets a call from his wife and hurries to meet her, with his friends teasing him for being the most devoted husband despite his complaints. Takeshi grins, realizing that love endures in unexpected ways. After an hour, he meets Yu at the station, and although she looks tired, her face lights up when she sees him. But her smile fades as she notices the faint scent of alcohol on him. She pouts, mentioning how much she was looking forward to having drinks with him that night. Takeshi offers to treat her to whatever she wants, and Yu's mood brightens instantly. She asks for something extravagant, wine, cheese, and a rich dessert to finish. After indulging in the meal, Yu is content and they walk through the streets, admiring the holiday decorations. Yu stops in front of a shop window to admire the delicate accessories, and Tadhishi watches her, realizing it's been nearly 6 months since they started dating. On the train home, he overhears a group of girls talking about how one of their boyfriends went all out for their anniversary, making them feel special. This makes Tadhishi wonder if he should do something for Yu, their 6-month anniversary and Christmas approaching. The next day at work, he scrolls through his phone for gift ideas, already imagining Yu's reaction. Lost in thought, he doesn't notice Maria coming up to him. She asks what's putting him in such a good mood, and he quickly tries to recover by asking what kind of surprise gift she'd like. His question raises more suspicion, and Maria and Shizuno exchange knowing looks. Later that evening, while relaxing with Yu, Tadhishi notices she doesn't wear many accessories and imagines how cute she'd look with earrings, a necklace, or a ring. As Yu steps away to the bathroom, Tadhishi seizes the chance to browse his phone for the perfect gift. She returns unexpectedly, startling him. He swiftly locks his screen, trying to steady his nerves and appear natural. Unaware of his secret, Yu invites him to a dessert event on Saturday. He hesitates before declining, citing exam preparations, though, in truth, he plans to buy her a present. That weekend, Takeshi visits a specialty store searching for jewelry. Overwhelmed by the vast selection, rings, bracelets, necklaces, a sales assistant notices his uncertainty and offers guidance. As he imagines Yu wearing different accessories, he is drawn to a pair of elegant couple rings. The sales assistant explains their sentimental value, and without overthinking, he decides on them. Before finalizing, she suggests engraving and keeping them until he confirms Yu's size. Takeshi agrees, satisfied with his choice. Meanwhile, Yu wraps up the dessert event with her friend Chiharu. As they leave for a cafe, she unexpectedly spots Tadhishi across the street. The next day, lost in thought, he pictures a romantic date where he gifts her the rings and they confess their feelings. In reality, he's at Yu's place, secretly measuring her ring size while she sleeps. Tadhishi plans to use the classic string trick, gently wrapping a thin thread around Yu's finger once she falls asleep. However, Yu grows wary of his sudden visit, already finding it strange that he insisted on coming despite his supposed study plans. Her doubts intensify when Tadhishi casually claims he was home all day, contradicting what she saw earlier. As Yu dozes off, Takeshi carefully measures her finger, quietly celebrating his success. But later that night, Yu wakes to find him on his phone, her unease growing. The next day, Takeshi remains distracted at work, eagerly anticipating Friday's dinner, envisioning the perfect moment to give his gift. Meanwhile, Yu can't shake her suspicions, troubled by the feeling that he's hiding something. As she struggles to focus, Tadishi's plan unravels. Securing a restaurant reservation proves difficult and frustration mounts. Then, a message from Yu appears, asking to meet, but he hastily responds that he's busy, insisting on waiting until Friday. Without checking for a reply, he rushes off to buy the rings, weaving through the crowded streets. Tadeishi mutters about his ruined dinner plans, hoping the rings will still salvage the day. He barely reaches the store before closing and finally retrieves the carefully chosen jewelry. Holding the small box, a thrill runs through him, until Yu suddenly appears behind him. Turning, he meets her sharp gaze as she demands answers, confronting him about seeing him in town last Saturday when he claimed to be studying. Scrambling for an excuse, he falters under her piercing stare. She presses forward, insisting on knowing what he's hiding. Panic rises at the thought of giving her the gift now, but he quickly dismisses it. This isn't the right moment. He urges her to wait one more day, but his hesitation only fuels her frustration. Determined, Yu declares she'll stay with him all evening to ensure he hides nothing else. As his surprise crumbles, her frustration shifts to vulnerability. Doubt clouds her expression, her body trembling as uncertainty grips her. The idea that he might leave her flashes in her mind. Seeing her distress, Tadeishi abandons his plan. Without another thought, he holds out the gift bag, realizing there's no reason to keep it a secret any longer. Yu discovers a jewelry box with 2 silver rings, each engraved with her name. Tadeishi shifts awkwardly, avoiding her eyes, embarrassed by his own gesture. He suggests she wear it only on holidays or at home to keep their relationship discreet at work. To his surprise, Yu promises to wear it daily, proudly expressing her love. Relieved, he smiles as she tearfully thanks him, admitting she forgot their 6-month anniversary. As the door closes, passion takes over, clothes quickly shed. Takeshi teases their impatience, but neither cares. Just before things escalate, Yu suddenly asks about his plans for tomorrow. Slightly breathless, he confesses he wanted to take her to a fancy restaurant, but it was fully booked. Hearing the regret in his voice, she reassures him, saying just being with him is enough. As an alarm chimes, marking midnight and their anniversary, she gazes at him with a soft, loving smile. She lifts his hand, kisses his ring, and whispers her hope to spend forever loved by him, sealing her words with another deep kiss. The next day, Yu presents her Sakura-themed snack ideas to her section chief. He likes the concept but feels it lacks impact, worrying it won't reach their audience. His critique leaves Yu disappointed, but as she looks at the silver band on her finger, a comforting warmth fills her. She never asked for physical gifts, but now she understands how meaningful it feels to have something that symbolizes love. Smiling, she recalls their imperfect but wonderful 6-month journey. Later, during a break, her friends notice how often she glances at the ring. Curiosity rises, and Yu admits she's been in a relationship for 6 months. Her friends, unsurprised, tease her, making her cheeks flush as they remark on how much her boyfriend must love her. Yu feels giddy, happy to talk openly about her relationship, even though she keeps Takeishi's identity a secret. Meanwhile, Tadeishi in the accounting department wears a matching ring as a necklace under his shirt. After working late one evening, Tadeishi texts Yu to say he's finally heading home. The streets glow with festive lights, reminding him that Christmas is near. Realizing it's their first holiday together as a couple, he wonders how to make it special for Yu. Before bed, he calls her and casually asks about her plans, but she seems indifferent, noting that work will keep him busy. Her lack of enthusiasm surprises him. The next morning, Shizuno arrives at the office complaining of an upset stomach from drinking too much at holiday parties. She grumbles about their department's growing workload as she drops a thick stack of papers on Tadeishi's desk. Over in the planning department, Itsuru struggles to keep up, and Yu, despite her own tasks, offers to help. That evening, she unwillings at Tadeishi's apartment over dinner and drinks, appreciating the comfort of his home. However, when he suggests she stay the night, she hesitates. Yu declines, citing a lack of spare clothes and an early meeting. While eating, Tadeishi inquires about her product proposal. She admits she's anxious and keeping busy to avoid overthinking, though it's only added to her holiday stress. Noticing his stack of books, she teases him about last-minute cramming, but he counters that she's projecting since he prefers planning. She freezes, caught in her own habits. The next morning, Shizuno and Kizuki have breakfast at their usual cafe. She hands him a CD and he eagerly takes it, promising to listen. Amused, she notes their shared music taste despite the age gap. As they chat, she feels at ease, but realizing her growing attachment, abruptly stands. Kizuki follows, citing work. Aware of workplace gossip, Shizuno suggests he leave first, saying she can stay a bit longer. He nods in understanding and leaves while she remains, unease creeping in. She worries she's become too familiar with him, their 8-year age gap adding to her hesitation. Their morning cafe meetings have become routine, and she enjoys his company more than she should. Catching herself thinking of his smile, she quickly reminds herself of the professional barrier between them. That evening, Shizuno steps out into the city, where couples stroll under Christmas lights. The festive scene makes her wonder about Kizuki's plans, but she shakes off the thought, scolding herself. A painful memory resurfaces, making her consider cutting ties entirely. Perhaps distancing herself now will stop these feelings from growing. Meanwhile, Tadeishi spends his evening studying over a microwave meal, realizing Christmas is just another workday. The next morning, Kizuki sits at their usual cafe table, confused by Shizuno's absence, only to later find her startled by his voice in the accounting department. He arrives to collect the year-end party fees, a task assigned to him. Not ready to face him, she quickly hands over the documents, keeping the exchange brief. Later, in the elevator, Takeshi and Yu discuss the party as their departments will celebrate together. Takeshi worries their secret relationship might be exposed, especially since Yui is uninhibited when drinking, but she reassures him she can handle it. When the elevator doors open, they instinctively step apart, fearing they might seem too distant. At the party, both departments enjoy a lively evening. Takeshi, seated near Yu, notices the ring he gave her and grows distracted. Shizuno, sensing his unease, hesitates to ask what's wrong. Meanwhile, Yukiko happily remarks on sitting with the same group from the baseball game. Takeshi fondly recalls hugging Yu in the heat of the game, briefly forgetting they were among co-workers. As he glances at her, she's casually chatting with Maria, unaware of his thoughts. A staff member suggests another round of drinks, and when Shizuno and Kizuki both order ginger ale, Shizuno quickly changes hers to oolong tea, puzzling Kizuki. Meanwhile, another table teases Takeshi and Yu about their close bond, having joined the company together. Yu playfully responds, impressing Takeshi, who subtly taps her foot in approval. Their quiet exchange is cut short when Chiharu gathers attention, making them briefly nervous. However, she simply praises Maria's snack reviews and expresses her desire to be friends. As the night winds down, Takeshi feels relieved that he stayed close to Yu without suspicion. But before he can relax, Chiharu eagerly suggests karaoke. Yu subtly signals him to decline, but he misses the cue, and to her dismay, excitedly agrees. Yu grows increasingly flustered under Takeshi's intense stare, his quiet attention making her self-conscious. To distract herself, she challenges him to sing a tough song, but before he can answer, Itsuro eagerly claims it, boasting it's his best piece. Kizuki mentions Shizuno to sing next, but she hesitates, overwhelmed by the spotlight. Just as she's about to refuse, a familiar melody plays, one from a band she loves. Shocked, she rushes outside to gather her thoughts, convincing herself Kizuki's choice was meaningless. Before she can regain composure, he appears, concerned about her behavior. His worry unsettles her even more, and when he suggests leaving early, she panics. Determined to suppress her emotions, she returns and hastily downs a beer. Meanwhile, Chiharu playfully urges Maria to wear a cute outfit while performing. Though uncomfortable, Maria surprises everyone by choosing a school uniform-style outfit and singing with unexpected confidence, her voice mesmerizing the group into silence. Feeling bold, she moves closer to Takeshi and suggests singing. Almost instantly, she regrets it, but he's already scrolling through the karaoke tablet, convincing himself it's fine. With their intoxicated friends oblivious, they perform together, their voices blending into the night's energy. On Christmas Eve, the office remains busy. Shizuno suggests a break, and Maria mentions free snacks in the break room. Takeshi heads to the cafeteria for cake and unexpectedly finds Yui. He greets her, but she responds coldly. Surprised, he grabs a slice and sits beside her, watching TV. Yui, distracted by an interesting rap segment, takes notes. Takeshi admires her, realizing that simply being with her is enough. Noticing a bag of snacks, he recognizes them from her first project. She admits they were pulled from shelves due to poor sales, but he reassures her. Her effort is still something to be proud of. Takeshi pauses at her words. It's the first time she admits she's never truly enjoyed Christmas. Since joining the company, work has consumed her holidays, leaving her dwelling on trivial things like the office fridge's contents. This year feels different, though. Having someone by her side offering quiet support makes the season a little lighter. Their shared gaze speaks volumes, but the moment is interrupted by a message. Her proposal has been approved. Excited, he offers to buy her coffee, and for the first time, Christmas feels worth celebrating. Elsewhere, Shizuno unexpectedly runs into Kizuki, who questions her absence from their usual cafe. She fumbles for an excuse, hinting she may not return. He casually mentions wanting to return a CD she lent him, his words making her uneasy. Unbothered by workplace rumors, he insists they should keep enjoying the cafe. As he turns to leave, he promises to return the CD when they cross paths again. Something about his words lingers, making it harder for Shizuno to ignore her feelings. On impulse, she calls out to him, suggesting they exchange numbers so he doesn't have to carry the CD around. As they do, she quietly accepts the truth. She has fallen for Kizuki, no longer caring about work boundaries. Yu's day takes a different turn as she swaps her usual office tasks for a hands-on role at a department store, helping sell Dar's chocolates. With Valentine's Day approaching, the store is buzzing and Yu stays busy assisting customers, recommending products and ensuring smooth promotions. Her involvement started days earlier when she was searching online for a gift, and Hiromi approached her with a mutually beneficial offer. His team, overwhelmed by the holiday rush, was short on staff despite hiring extra help. Believing Yu's personality made her ideal for the job, he convinced her to assist in exchange for his feedback on her spring product. Meanwhile, Tadeshi's routine shifts as he starts studying before work, taking an earlier train to find a quiet cafe. That morning, his usual spot is closed for renovations, forcing him to look elsewhere. only to spot Shizuno and Kizuki having breakfast together. Tadaishi observes Shizuno and Kizuki sharing a quiet meal, noticing the warmth in her expression, something rare yet radiant in Kizuki's presence. A strange feeling stirs within him as he watches from afar. When Shizuno subtly shifts, as if sensing his gaze, he quickly ducks behind a wall, scolding himself for acting as if he'd intruded on something private. His morning study session proves fruitless, his mind replaying the scene. He wonders if he should have just joined them. Co-workers dining together isn't unusual, but something about their dynamic gives him pause. Though they've attended group events before, seeing them alone feels different. Later during lunch, he finds Kizuki in the break room sipping a drink. Without thinking, he sits beside him, though an odd tension lingers. The memory of that morning remains, yet he says nothing, focusing instead on his studies. Kizuki, however, takes note and learns that a bookkeeping certification could fast-track promotions. This sparks his curiosity. Does Shizuno have one? Despite her youth, she's already a leader in accounting. Tatishi avoids confirming or denying Shizuno's bookkeeping credentials but acknowledges her remarkable talent. Though warm and sociable, she works with impressive speed. Kizuki unexpectedly shares more about her, recalling past encounters. His initial impression formed when she was drunk may have shifted. As Tatishi listens, he senses admiration rather than romance. Feeling relaxed, he casually mentions seeing them at the cafe, noting Shizuno's unusual cheerfulness. Kizuki's slight embarrassment unsettles him. Meanwhile, Yu manages the Valentine's Day rush, especially in chocolate shops. While helping customers, she notices Maria, who checks in on her and buys fine chocolates. Tasting them, Maria enjoys the flavors and remarks on Tadishi's constant studying. Yu, overwhelmed with longing, realizes how much she misses him. Though they plan to meet, she now craves his company even more. After work, she returns to the office and receives Hiromi's feedback on her product. Yu's stomach clenches as she opens the file, spotting multiple red-marked sections signaling major revisions. The extensive corrections add to her exhaustion, though she's grateful Maria keeps her informed about Tatishi. Another demanding workday begins and Yui is assigned to assist with sales. As she takes notes, her mind drifts to the overwhelming edits and whether she'll have time to prepare for Valentine's Day. A couple in the store catches her eye. Two professionals discussing their plans openly, with the woman introducing her boyfriend to a colleague. The sight stirs sadness in Yu, reminding her of her secret relationship with Taishi. That evening, fatigue washes over her as she collapses onto her bed, instinctively reaching for her phone. A small spark of happiness flickers when she sees Taishi's unread messages. Planning to rest before tackling her proposal, she closes her eyes, but sleep evades her. Thoughts of the couple return, making her yearn for the freedom to be open with Taishi. However, their careers make public dating impossible. Unable to suppress the longing, she sits up and dials his number. She tells herself there'll be a quick call just to hear his voice, enough to ease the loneliness creeping in. But the moment Tatishi speaks, a deeper longing grips her. Without thinking, she drops a subtle, suggestive remark about phone sex, barely realizing what she's implying. The thought briefly flickers through her mind. His gentle touch, his lingering kisses, but Taishi is caught off guard. His confusion is clear as he hesitates, asking her to clarify. The weight of her words crashes over Yu, embarrassment flooding her. She stammers, backtracking frantically before hanging up in a panic, burying her face in her pillow, mortified by her impulsiveness. The next morning at work, Shiharu asks her to deliver documents to accounting, and she agrees. As she walks, her thoughts drift. She rarely runs into Taishi these days, though she longs to. But memories of last night's call resurface, and she realizes she's not ready to face him yet. The moment she steps in, her worst fear materializes. Taishi is the first person she spots. His indifferent greeting is devoid of warmth, and though professionalism is expected, the cold sting is sharper than she imagined. As she hands over the documents, Shizuno and Maria arrive, greeting her cheerfully. A fleeting thought about not hiding their relationship crosses her mind but vanishes when Taishi returns a document, pointing out an issue. Their fingers graze and she instinctively recoils. A glance at Shizuno and Maria reassures her they haven't noticed. Exhaling, she steadies herself, silently chastising her reaction. Just before the elevator doors shut, Taishi slips in, grasping her hands with a firm yet warm touch. He reassures her that she can always rely on him. He's noticed her distress and has been concerned. Her heart softens, realizing he must have rushed to catch her, his palms slightly damp. In these quiet moments, he reminds her she's never truly alone. Valentine's Day arrives along with her final batch of Sakura-themed cookies. Pride swells as she admires them, and her team congratulates her on the hard work that led to this moment. Yu wants to bask in her achievement, but reality pulls her back. She must return to the store for the holiday rush. Her colleagues assure her they can handle things without her, freeing her to focus on DRZ. On the way, she checks her phone. Taishi has asked to meet later. Guilt creeps in. She hasn't bought him chocolates. Upon arrival, she's met with chaos. Last-minute shoppers scrambling, including Hiromi, energetically assisting the team. As she watches the frenzy, she worries she won't make it in time. Overtime seems inevitable, but spotting a familiar couple reminds her to stay composed. She sets aside her frustration and serves each customer with a smile. By closing time, exhaustion weighs on her. Harry offers premium chocolates as a reward, but she dashes off, eager to see Tateshi. Racing through the streets, she debates a last-minute chocolate purchase but dismisses the thought. Every second away from him feels wasted. Breathless upon arrival, she apologizes, but Tateshi simply hands her a drink, noticing her fatigue. His gaze lands on the bag of final cookie samples, and instead of disappointment, he asks to try them, valuing her effort over any store-bought gift. Yu chuckles, feeling lighter. He understands her in ways no one else can. As they walk hand in hand, warmth floods her chest. Then, out of nowhere, Tateshi suggests they announce their relationship, making her freeze until he grins, admitting he's joking. Laughter spills from Yu, tension melting away. Even if they must keep things quiet for now, she knows they'll be just fine. One evening, Shizuno enjoys drinks with old classmates, chatting easily about life, work, and relationships. When someone suddenly asks about her boyfriend, she feels uneasy. The next day, work resumes as usual. She lets Tateshi and Maria leave early for personal matters, and left alone, rereads her messages with Kizuki. He invited her to a concert that weekend, a band she loves. She reminds herself she agreed only because it's Kizuki's first concert, yet a small part of her wonders if it's a date. She dismisses the thought, convinced he sees her only as a colleague, especially with their age gap. Meanwhile, Tateshi methodically reviews his study materials for an upcoming exam, setting alarms and double-checking everything. Despite his preparation, anxiety lingers. He recalls past tests where nerves erase his knowledge, including his high school and university entrance exams, where stress cost him a spot at his top-choice school. Despite nearly sabotaging his pseudo-snacks interview due to anxiety, he somehow got the job, though the memory of his poor performance lingered. A brief confidence boost came when he aced a bookkeeping test, pushing him to aim higher. However, bad luck struck when he failed the next certification, not from lack of preparation, but because he arrived late. Dwelling on these setbacks made sleep elusive until a message from Yu, wishing him luck, interrupted his thoughts. Doubting himself, he replied half-heartedly, but another message followed. Photos of a vacation room she wanted to book. Remembering his failures came at a cost, he smiled slightly. Yu had reached her goals early, inspiring him. Considering the idea, he checked the booking site, but panicked at the steep price. Instead of reserving, he called Yui, joking that she'd have to split the costs if he passed. Amused, she laughed at his sudden shift in motivation. Rather than brooding over failure, he now wanted to succeed, if only to avoid the hefty expense. They agreed to find a cheaper auction if he passed, and for the first time, his voice held hope instead of doubt. After ending the call, Tateshi is surprised by his newfound confidence. The fear of spending a fortune on the trip has fueled an unexpected determination. Just before bed, he receives a simple but sincere good luck message from her. The next morning, he sits at the testing center, still nervous, but no longer overwhelmed. This time, he's ready. Meanwhile, Shizuno agonizes over her concert outfit, torn between a casual old band shirt and dressier options that feel too date-like. She takes so long to decide that she ends up running late. When she finally arrives, she sees Kizuki in casual clothes, making their age difference seem even more obvious. She apologizes, but he doesn't mind and suggests storing their extra items in a locker. As they walk, she grows self-conscious, wondering how others see them. But when Kizuki compliments her relaxed look, she decides to enjoy the moment. During the concert, she notices that while he doesn't smile, he subtly sways to the music, fully immersed. Then, a rare song starts playing, one only true fans with the limited edition CD would recognize. Shizuno recognizes a familiar song from the CD she loves, turning to share her excitement only to see Kizuki doing the same. Embarrassed, he looks away, mumbling that the song is nice. She feels at ease in the shared moment. After the concert, Kizuki is thrilled, admitting that hearing a band live is completely different. Suddenly, he pulls Shizuno out of the path of a speeding bike, making her heart race. Even more shocking, he keeps holding her hand and asks if they can meet again. Memories of her painful breakup resurface. Her ex despised workplace relationships. Though hesitant, she agrees but gently reclaims her hand. At his desk, Takeshi reviews exam questions, cross-referencing with his notes. Confidence builds with each recalled answer. Just as he relaxes, his phone rings. Yu is checking on him. Her cheerful voice lifts his spirits, easing the stress of the exam. As they chat about their upcoming vacation, he starts looking forward to the break. Meanwhile, Shizuno arrives home, slamming the door in frustration. She berates herself for once again getting attached to a coworker, breaking the promise she made after her last heartbreak. Shizuno's past relationship had been a well-guarded secret. Dating a senior colleague had once seemed like a wise choice. She couldn't believe they would inspire each other to grow, but instead, it drained them. Without warning, he ended things, admitting he felt discouraged by her success and unable to keep up. As she advanced, the pressure mounted until he finally walked away. What made it worse was seeing him at work daily, making it nearly impossible to move on. A sting deepened when she overheard he was engaged. Eventually, he left the company without a word, his quiet exit confirming he had moved on while she was still reeling. Looking back, Shizuno forces herself to be logical. She convinces herself she only enjoyed Kizuki's presence, mistaking comfort for something deeper. Still, a nagging thought lingers. Did she hurt him by pulling away? On Monday, Kizuki sits alone at their usual booth waiting for Shizuno, but she never arrives. He considers calling but decides against it. By the end of the day, she stays late at work, briefly chatting with Tahishi, agreeing they should celebrate with a drink if he passes the exam. After a long day, Shizuno heads home and spots Kizuki by the train station, as if waiting for her. They grab a meal together, and after a few drinks, she keeps things light, but Kizuki breaks the balance by confessing his feelings. Panic sets in, and she drinks past her limit, spilling her fears about office romance. Concerned, Kizuki checks her forehead, flustering her further. Overwhelmed, she hides her face, begging him to stop making her heart race. A shift in his expression tells her he understands. She feels the same. Later, she wakes in an unfamiliar room, piecing together the night. Kizuki enters, fresh from a shower, and casually tells her she passed out, so he brought her to his place. Looking around, she recognizes his space, relief washing over her as she realizes nothing else happened. Kizuki offers to walk Shizuno to the tram after drying his hair, but he notices her uneasy expression. Realizing she might think he took advantage of her, he firmly clears up any misunderstanding. However, Shizuno is more worried about whether she said anything embarrassing while drunk. Kizuki stiffens as a faint blush forms. He remembers her confessing to him. Hoping she won't notice, he looks away, but she catches on. Before they can address it, Kizuki's mother enters, scolding him for not informing her that Shizuno was awake. Embarrassed, Shizuno hurriedly thanks her for the hospitality and leaves. On her way to the tram, she remains lost in thought until Kizuki suddenly apologizes, not for his actions, but for being happy about her drunken confession. He reassures her that nothing happened, and after a deep breath, Shizuno chooses honesty. Stopping in her tracks, she admits she values his sincerity and decides to give love another chance. Later, she confides in him about a painful past relationship and warns they must keep their romance a secret at work. Kizuki agrees, understanding the risks. Seeing her smile so freely fills him with warmth, and he finally understands why Tahishi protects his relationship with Yua. Tahishi and Yua gape at the computer screen, overwhelmed with excitement. He has passed the bookkeeping exam. Relief and joy flood them as Yua eagerly searches for their next vacation, feeling celebration is well earned. In her enthusiasm, she accidentally books a lavish suite for 120,000 yen and scrambles to cancel it. That evening, Tahishi enjoys drinks with coworkers, sharing his success amid laughter and congratulations. A friend announces his engagement, lifting Tahishi's spirits. The next morning, however, unease creeps in when a colleague mentions rumors of department transfers, with Tahishi as a possible candidate. Though the comment is vague, the uncertainty unsettles him. He glances at Shizuno, a senior who might know the truth, but her composed manner reveals nothing. He buries himself in work, momentarily distracted by an account issue Maria brings up, finding comfort in solving it. Still by lunchtime, office gossip resurfaces. Rumors about HR's interest in transfers intensify, and Tahishi can no longer ignore the possibility of losing his position. Despite recently earning a certification, uncertainty looms over him. That evening, he confides in Yua, who listens but remains doubtful, reminding him that workplace gossip is often exaggerated. She urges him to focus on facts, but he remains uneasy. Yu recalls Kizuki's sudden transfer, which was announced through an unexpected phone call, leaving him no time to prepare. The next day, when the department phone rings, Tahishi panics, fearing the worst. To his relief, it's just a routine request from another branch. However, his anxiety returns when Shizuno inquires about his tasks, explaining that she needs to reassign them due to departmental changes. Though vague, her words make Tahishi suspicious, especially when she suggests delegating more work to Maria. Convinced his transfer is imminent, he resigns himself to fate and updates Yu, who remains skeptical since no official confirmation has come. Her reassurances do little to ease his mind. Determined to carry on as usual, Tahishi awaits the inevitable call, until Maria later asks for his help with a difficult task. Despite her progress, some challenges still baffle Maria. Tahishi, however, feels proud of her growth. She has faced many hurdles with resilience, and he realizes that once he leaves, she will take on a senior role guiding new recruits. Wanting to make the most of his remaining time with the team, he casually invites Maria for a drink after work. Returning to his tasks, he acknowledges that if his transfer is imminent, it will likely be abrupt. Determined to wrap up his workload efficiently, he tackles each report and ledger with renewed focus, reflecting on the pride he once took in his work. Later that night, as he heads home, his thoughts wander. He wonders if his superior's leadership has stagnated and whether the transfer is meant to bring fresh insight. A glance at his bookshelf, filled with bookkeeping materials he once studied so diligently, deepens his sense of betrayal. Still, he pushes forward. The next morning, as he reviews his responsibilities, he considers how Maria will handle them in his absence. To ease her transition, he creates a simplified system with detailed step-by-step guides. Maria and Shizuno notice his sudden burst of energy and find it unusual. Eventually, Maria agrees to the drink but requests they also grab a bowl of ramen, to which Tadaishi readily agrees. Meanwhile, in the planning department, Itsuro enthusiastically discusses his new camping hobby with a colleague. Itsuro shares his love for camping with his family, eager to bond in nature. The girls are fascinated and want to try it, so he proposes a group trip. Meanwhile, Tadaishi stays busy ensuring a smooth transfer but takes a break, unexpectedly running into Yue. Seizing the moment, Tadaishi asks her opinion on HR, having already accepted his reassignment. While preparing, he realizes he excelled in accounting despite it not being his first choice and believes he can adapt to HR just as well. He credits Yu for motivating him and proudly mentions the manual he created for Maria and Shizuno, expecting their praise. Yu, though doubtful about his transfer, appreciates his optimism and invites him on a camping trip planned by Itsuro for their karaoke group. Takeshi is eager to join as it might be his last outing with the accounting team, though he worries their relationship might be discovered. Yu reassures him, confident in their ability to keep their relationship discreet after a year of practice. She doesn't mind if people find out naturally, but admits she's too shy to tell them herself. Takeshi senses their relationship evolving and hopes openness will come in time. When the camping trip arrives, the group admires the scenery, grateful for the fresh air. Itsuro slightly regrets not considering the group's size, but his wife and kids are happy. As they unpack, his wife Shiori approaches Shizuno, having once worked in sales before leaving to raise her children. Takeshi realizes how close they've all become, forming a tight-knit office circle. Itsuro has rented 2 cabins and suggests unpacking before either exploring or relaxing with a drink. The group opts to unwind, with many playing by the river. Shizuno feels out of place until she notices Kazuki quietly reading nearby. Shizuno encourages him to join the group in enjoying nature since they're all around the same age, but he declines, preferring to spend time with her. She suggests a game, but when one of Itsuro's children overhears and excitedly joins, the 2 adults end up entertaining the child instead of having time alone. Later, the group prepares dinner, setting up the grill while Yu and Shiori make curry inside. Yu, eager to try Shiori's cooking after hearing Itsuro praise it at work, asks about her past with him. Shiori admits they tried to keep their relationship secret but failed, as everyone eventually found out. She then shares her plan to surprise Itsuro with an early birthday cake and enlists Yu's help, who eagerly agrees. As the BBQ continues, Tadaishi checks on the curry and takes in the serene forest view before heading inside, where he's pulled into the cake preparations. Since Itsuro will likely be too exhausted from an upcoming trip to celebrate properly, they plan an early surprise with his children decorating a cake. However, Itsuro grows suspicious of Yu and Tadaishi's odd behavior. Noticing this, Shiharu and Yukiko cleverly distract him by asking for help with the bonfire, giving the others a chance to finish the surprise. Tadaishi can't shake the suspicion that Shiharu and Yukiko might already sense his relationship with Yu, but he sets the thought aside to focus on secretly arranging a surprise for Itsuro's birthday. When the cake appears, Itsuro's family leads the celebration and warm applause fills the room. Stunned, Itsuro realizes he'd forgotten his own birthday due to his hectic schedule and is deeply moved. Overwhelmed, he jokes about the cake being too precious to eat, snapping a photo before cutting it. As the night winds down, Itsuro and Shiori tuck their kids into bed, while the younger staff relax by the bonfire, discussing parenthood and admiring Itsuro's dedication as a father. Takeshi considers this the perfect time for his own announcement, but Shiharu catches him off guard by teasing him and Yu about their unexpected closeness despite their usual workplace clashes. Their playful remark makes Takeshi and Yu freeze, exchanging nervous glances. Yu smiles, giving a reassuring nod, and Takeshi takes a deep breath, finally ready to share their secret, hoping for a warm reception. Just as Takeshi is about to admit his relationship with Yu, the group's attention shifts to Kazuki, who shares details about his usual days off. The conversation takes a turn when he reveals he's dating an older woman who often takes the lead, sparking everyone's curiosity. Noticing this, Shizuno grows uneasy and quickly offers to take out the trash, trying to divert the topic. Despite her efforts, Kazuki continues without revealing specifics. As Shizuno steps away, Tadaishi notices her flustered expression and realizes she and Kazuki are likely the couple in question. Accepting that his moment to confess has passed, he silently agrees with Yu to keep their secret a little longer. The next morning, while most are still asleep, Takeshi enjoys a peaceful stroll, surprised to find Yu had the same idea. As they walk, Yu confidently expresses her desire to be open about their relationship, at least with their camping friends. Takeshi agrees, suggesting Chiharu and Yukiko be the first to know. Their conversation is cut short by distant voices, leading them to investigate, only to stumble upon Kazuki and Shizuno walking together. When Yu and Takeshi accidentally make a noise, Shizuno panics and awkwardly insists they just happened to meet by chance. Yu's expression betrays her amusement upon realizing that Kazuki's girlfriend has been Shizuno all along. Seizing the moment, Takeshi impulsively places a hand on her shoulder and claims they are in a similar situation. As they prepare to leave, he regrets revealing their secret without consulting her. Back at work, the routine resumes until one morning. Shizuno approaches Takeshi with a serious expression, assigning him new responsibilities. Surprised, he assumed he was transferring, but Shizuno clarifies that the accounting department values his expertise even more after passing the bookkeeping exam. Relieved, Takeshi returns to his desk, realizing his worries were baseless. He quickly texts Yui, who smiles at the good news. However, she soon receives an unexpected call from HR, summoning her to a meeting. To her surprise, she, not Takeshi, is being transferred but to PR instead of HR. The company recognizes her skills and believes she will thrive in the role. Returning to her office, she resumes work as usual, keeping the news to herself for now. That evening, while unwinding at home, Takeshi gets a message from Yu revealing that she's the one being transferred, not him. Concerned about her well-being, he calls her immediately, knowing she had recently declined a move to the new business development department to stay in planning. Contrary to his worries, Yu is thrilled about joining PR. She confesses initial shock and slight sadness, but soon recognizes the greater challenges PR presents, making her eager to join the team. Takeshi admires her positive outlook, especially recalling how mere rumors of his own transfer led him to unusual actions like having spicy ramen with Maria. The next day at work, Yu prepares for her new role by drafting emails. Upon opening her inbox, she finds a congratulatory message from Hiromi. Later, colleagues Yukiko and Chiharu invite her to dinner. During the meal, as they animatedly discuss office events, Yu decides to share her transfer news. To her astonishment, they already know and instead of sadness, express pride and excitement about her move to a prestigious department. However, Chiharu admits she'll miss Yu and suggests regular outings to keep their friendship strong. This heartfelt sentiment moves all three to tears, deepening their bond. Sensing the moment is right, Yu admits she's dating Takeshi, which Yukiko had suspected, though Chiharu is surprised, having noticed no signs. The girls understand Yu's secrecy, but wonder if it's okay for them to know. Yu reassures them, calling them close friends, which touches Yukiko and Chiharu. They eagerly discuss Yu's romance, teasing her about how close she and Takeshi always seemed at work. With neither of them having a partner, they relish uncovering the details. At a colleague's wedding, Yu and Takeshi attend together, smiling as the couple exchanges vows. As the celebration stretches late, they recall a friend's emotional speech. Walking home, Yu reflects on their journey, even before dating, while Takeshi remembers how Yu used to criticize him at work, often drawing teasing from coworkers. After a training camp, their relationship changed. They started texting often, and despite Yu's sharp remarks at work, Takeshi found her increasingly charming, though her cold demeanor still left him puzzled. Takeshi doubted his chances with Yu when she invited him to a dessert festival. Her mixed signals were hard to ignore. Still, he'd accepted, determined to enjoy the outing. The next day, he tried being more sociable at work and complimented Yu's hairstyle in the elevator. She quickly dismissed it, saying she wouldn't style it that way again since it was too time-consuming. Yet, after work, she was all smiles at the festival, a stark contrast to her workplace demeanor. As they explored the event, Takeshi noticed her growing stash of treats and suspected she was researching for work. She confirmed this, explaining her involvement in a snack-related project. Impressed, he offered to carry her box, and her grateful smile made her even more charming. A cheerful vendor, seeing their dynamic, assumed they were a couple and urged them to take a themed photo for a contest. Though hesitant, they agreed, posing stiffly. Later, as the sky darkened and rain poured, they scrambled for cover, their clothes drenched. Yu glanced down, clearly uneasy about boarding the tram in her soaked state. Takeshi quickly offered his nearby apartment for Yu to dry off. Despite hesitating, she agreed. Once there, he regretted the invitation, especially when she emerged in one of his oversized shirts, her damp hair clinging to her face. The sight unsettled him, and for a moment, he couldn't look away. He instinctively reached to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear, but stopped, recalling how he had dismissed any romantic connection between them. Pulling back, an awkward silence followed. At the next company gathering, Yu kept her usual guarded distance. When talk turned to office romances, most dismissed them as troublesome. Takeshi listened, conflicted, while Yu remained unreadable. As the night ended, she slipped away, seeking solitude. Worried, he asked around and soon found her wandering alone. Relief washed over him, but her cold demeanor remained. She still refused to face him. Driven by desperation, Takeshi finally confessed, revealing his deep emotions and regret for suppressing them. However, Yu's reaction was not what he expected. Frustrated, she accused him of denying his true feelings. The memory of that rainy day at his apartment haunted them both. He had the chance to act, but didn't. She felt foolish for believing in a connection he had once dismissed. His fear of loss had only caused her pain. Yet, as Yu admitted her own struggle with vulnerability, she also acknowledged her desire to be with him, despite the risks. Moved by her resolve, Takeshi embraced his own and asked her out, suggesting secrecy until they were ready. To his relief, Yu agreed, her smile filled with hope. Their relationship blossomed in quiet moments and unspoken gestures. On Yu's first day in the PR department, she steps into the office with determination. As the elevator doors close, Takeshi joins her, sensing her anticipation. Instead of her usual guarded look, she radiates quiet excitement. As the elevator ascends, he admires how far they've come. Before stepping out, he gives her an encouraging glance, wishing her luck. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: they love each other and will face it together. This is the end of the series. If you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. All of your support helps me to keep bringing more high-quality recaps. Check out this other video too if you haven't.